Welcome to another edition of Spooky Reviews from Spooky Ventures. This is the 53rd Spooky review we've done, and it's a continuation of my effort to put the spooky back into Christmas by covering some ho-ho horror. This will be the last round of Christmas horror reviews for this year. In it, I'll be talking about the new DVD release of Christmas Craft Fair Massacre. Now, I have to say that if I took this as a straight horror movie, there is no way I could have done a positive review of it. I honestly don't think that's how it's intended, though. It seems to me that it's both a love letter to low-budget indie slasher films, but also a spoof of them. And viewed that way, the movie is a lot of fun. There are plenty of clues to tell us that my way of looking at it is the intention. You can start with the silly title. Moving to the premise of dark satanic cultists using a craft fair as a means to bring a reign of evil into the world just screams spoof to me. Then there are some of the names of characters. Mortimer Shade for the villain, and Father Goodman, literally good man, as one of the protagonists, are classic examples. I have to admit that I often use character names in my fiction as a means of foreshadowing the character's purpose in the tale, but I try to be a little subtler than that. This is pretty on-the-nose stuff here. There's a character wearing a Michael Myers mask with a long wig or long hair. We have another character who is sort of an evil fangirl, doing her best to prove that she is evil. She literally calls herself that in order to impress her superior. If those two things don't scream spoof, I don't know what does. So going forward, I'm going to be looking at the movie with that spoof lens. As I mentioned, you've got a cultist attempting to use this Christmas craft fair as a means to bring a satanic empire to Earth. It gets more complicated, though, because we've got another baddie who is trying to steal the final ritual from the main baddie to take all the glory for herself. The acting here is often very wooden. If you watch Eyes when lines are being delivered, you can even see at least one of the characters reading lines as they're being said. Now, that said, you can probably see me doing that because while I wing it at times, I mostly read from a teleprompter. At first, I thought it was an indication of an amateurish production with this movie. In retrospect, I think it might have been a decision to give the film that super low-budget vibe. There are quite a few kills in this movie, but they are all pretty similar. That said, they do have a tendency to get pretty bloody in a cheapo, cool way. There are a number of scenes that look like someone took a decent hunk of the budget of the movie to a Spirit Halloween store's clearance sale to get some pieces to be used. And hey, who wouldn't love to do that? I mean, Spirit Halloween's one of the greatest things ever. I think that it is actually a tribute to how seriously they seem to have taken the spoof nature of the movie that I didn't figure out that it was probably the angle the filmmaker was going for until I thought about it after having gotten through it. As a love letter to both supernatural and slasher horror with a healthy helping of both holiday atmosphere and satanic panic and a definite spoof angle, this film is quite entertaining. I have to think that that was the plan the filmmaker had. Now, the DVD includes a number of extras. I really can't comment on them because my copy seems to play the film just fine, but gives me some real trouble when I try to play the extras. I've tried it in a couple different players, so it wasn't player specific, but I'm going to assume it's just a bad copy. So to sum things up, if you want some old school B-grade horror set at Christmas time and taken as both a tribute and spoof, this movie might be just what you are looking for. It's a good way to bring the ho-ho to horror, that's for sure. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.